Yeah, taking money out of
Good
play.
branding, everything matches, looks great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So who we got?
Do we have Cheryl on?
Is Cheryl on?
We just need Cheryl for.
I am. Hello. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. I sound very clogged up and I don't look very great, which is why I have the video off. But good morning.
Time, yes, a lot going
So,
around.
are we ready with the,
Almost.
okay, oh, something going.
Yeah, she's gonna probably get Facebook. Yeah,
Okay.
it's almost done.
That's right, no problem. I usually do a breakfast on that. Are you not doing that this year?
We are doing it this
Yeah, you have
year.
an invitation.
Yeah, you should have your
Oh,
invite
okay,
right
just curious. I
there.
figured with
Yeah.
everything going on, I don't know if you can.
We
still do it.
did. We didn't do it for 2 years.
Yeah, I
and
know,
we
it's
kind of
hard to
missed
believe.
it. And we're doing it at the culinary.
Oh, no, good idea.
Mhm. So excited.
It's
for
actually
that.
in your hand.
There you go. To do this.
Oh, that's a nice
creative
idea.
invites.
And we're good.
Plus, most of the people are probably in that general vicinity down there.
Yeah, yeah, and we have used, I think we use the incubators parking. And we have used of that so people can
That's
park.
good.
Well, I better not say his name too many times.
We're all
My
set.
car's reading.
Okay,
Probably will.
good morning. We'll call the meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the transcript from the March 16th board meeting. Wait a minute. Right, and that has been sent out to all of our members of the governance committee. They had an opportunity to review it and make any modifications. So we'll accept that for the record. The next item on the agenda is public comment. We will open the floor to anyone who wants to address the governance committee. They have 5 minutes. We just ask that you identify yourselves and give us your name and address. So we'll open the floor at this time. Is there anyone who would like to address us? Okay, seeing or hearing none, we'll close that section of the meeting and we'll move on to our first agenda item. Review, discussion, recommendation to authorize an extension of the June 10th, 2021 sales and use tax exemption agreement granted to Cashew Enterprises through and including May 19th, 2023, and authorizing an increase thereof in the amount of $91,440 for a total sales and use tax exemption not to exceed $331,440. Stacy.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. So yes, we have for the committee's consideration, a request for the extension of both time and dollar amount related to the sales tax exemption for Cashew Enterprises, Inc. We do have Bob Cashew here, and we are thrilled that the project, after a stream of unfortunate events, is continuing, and with the good weather, we hope you can catch up on your timeline there. But based on the letter in your packet, we are aware of the setback in the building, and so this has caused a delay in time. So the first request is for an extension for another year till May 19th, 2023, which we think makes a lot of sense. And then in addition, I'm sure some unexpected and unanticipated costs related to regrouping on the project. So an increase of $91,440. That amount does not require public hearing and is below $100,000, which would require an additional public hearing. But with that, this would kind of give a reset for the time and allow the construction project to gain all the full benefit of the incentive.
Okay, are there any questions from any of the committee members?
I will note also, we did just close on the pilot agreement for the project as well.
Is there a motion?
So move, Jim.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is a review, discussion, recommendation to authorize the agency to enter into three-year term contracts for architectural, engineering, civil, and environmental services. Stacy.
Yes, I will. 1, 2, 3, 3 here. I will note a modification on this now that, as you read that aloud, I realize, so it's not just 3, because we are recommending that we select a number of firms above 3, and I'll explain in a moment. But every year, every 3 years, we issue an RFP for certain services for the agency, for the IDA and or the LDC. One of which we have found is very beneficial is for architecture and engineering and design, as well as a newer one that we've added, which is groups that can do sort of the overall feasibility planning and other studies for us. So we are recommending this year that we approve 6 contractors for vendor relationships. Again, these are 3-year terms. 2 of them I would qualify in that area of more of the feasibility planning and general economic development study. That is Alon and Labella and Associates. Alon, we do have an ongoing relationship with our site inventory analysis. And then in addition, more on the general engineering, architectural and engineering services, some great local firms, Shoemaker, Channis and Anderson, Delta, and Keystone and Associates. Out of that group of 6, we do have 2 WBEs, which we are happy to support. But again, really, especially I think with our increased activity in the years ahead on land development and doing a lot of due diligence on site development, which we expect to do, having a number of firms essentially that we can call upon to provide some quotes for us is very beneficial. And the purpose we select these vendors, the reason for doing these term contracts is that rather than doing RFPs every time, we can just go to this group and request quotes rather than a full RFP process. So you had also requested
What was the last?
information.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Schumacher, Janice,
Channis
Delta.
and Anderson, Delta, and Keystone
Oh, okay.
Associates, yes.
So all this architectural, engineering, civil, environmental falls under these, all those,
Yes,
all those actions fall under these 6 firms that can do all those.
yes, we can go to them, and again, rather than saying, we're going to issue an RFQ or an RFP, we're just going to say, here's what we're trying to do, please quote, and it just moves the process. I think it's
Okay.
more expeditious for things, especially from time to time. We do have things that are time sensitive. And then you had asked for, and I think was this provided via email? Natalie?
Yes.
For our 2019 through 2021 engineering amounts by vendor, you'll see that the only of the term contracts, Delta, we've been working with Delta on the structural analysis for the IBM Country Club. And that was in the amount of $2,357. Above that, and the information you received, we have worked with Alon on a number of items. Those were actually separate grant funding. Those were separate and distinct RFPs as well. So we did break down the expenditures on those. But again, this just helps us move our process quickly by having these relationships and contracts in place.
Okay, so then so the other one was, how often do we do an RFP? We do it
3 years.
So are we in the final, when's the last time we did one? 2000.
2019.
So we're in the final
Yeah.
year,
Mhm.
so we would do another one next year.
Well, this would begin in 2020,
22.
20, yes.
So we would do one 3 years from 2022.
We're starting, this is a,
We're starting.
Yes,
over.
this is a new
Yeah.
oh,
three-year
this is a,
term.
oh,
Sorry.
so we're doing a request for proposals now.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so we didn't send them electronically because as you could see the file sizes, but we do
Oh, okay,
have,
so we're doing a request for proposals
Yeah,
now, so
right.
we're not approving anything yet.
no, we did the RFP. These are the ones we'd like you to.
Oh,
approve.
okay, so we did the
Yeah.
RFP this year.
Right, we
Yes.
received
Oh,
12.
okay.
Sorry, yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
and this is what we received.
yes.
Okay, all
Gotcha.
right, very good.
Yeah.
Did we
So,
get any responses on the RFPs that we're not looking to enter into contract, or are these all of the vendors that we received a response
No,
from?
we received an additional 6 that we did not select. We received quite a few, which is, I think, we've been talking a lot about site development, land development as one of our strategic priorities. So I think there is a lot of interest. So we received 12 in total. We're recommending 6. I will say 2 of the 6 fall more into the category of doing economic development feasibility and planning studies, whereas the other 4 are straight architecture and engineering services directly, civil engineering,
Right.
architecture, et cetera.
And since these are professional services and we have some ongoing projects, I'm assuming the reason and the rationale for recommending these 6 are their experience with the area, experience with the sites, experiences with, can you delve into why you're recommending these 6?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think based on the qualifications that we received, based on, I think certainly the knowledge of the community and of the area, was one thing that weighed heavily in their favor. And just project work that they've done. We felt, that these were all strong firms. We'd love to work with all 12, but that might be a little bit cumbersome. Alon was one, we do have ongoing work with them still. We'd like to continue our site analysis as we dive deeper into a phase 2 with our site inventory. Delta, we are continuing to work with them on IBM and doing review and analysis and preparing that for its next chapter. Labella is new to the area as far as formal offices in the Broome County area. They're a strong group statewide. We have a good relationship with them. So there may be an opportunity to engage with Labella as well. And then, of course, Shoemaker, Janus and Anderson, and Keystone are very well-established firms here in the community. We'd love to find an opportunity to work with.
So I think I know in my experience, so a lot of these firms have specialties, obviously. So some firms are better at doing certain things than other firms, obviously. That plays into why you would
Sure.
pick them.
Yeah.
Like environmental, some may be very strong in environmental, some don't even go into that direction.
Right,
So,
yeah. Yeah, I'd say Delta and Keystone are your largest MEP or broader. Janus is certainly more specialized in architecture and engineering, or architecture, I should say. Should we find the need for that? We don't do as much on the straight architecture side, but you don't know what might come up. And Shoemaker is very strong in a lot of hydrology, land use, civil engineering.
So obviously then when a project comes up, depending on what the need is, that's how you determine who you're going to pick.
Yes, and we're often, when it goes over our procurement level, we would seek out 3 quotes. And so having at least a minimum of 3 that we can call upon to provide, an estimate or a quote on a specific project or a specific task we have them already built in. So,
Okay.
Yeah, because we may not need all of them, but, again, if it's more of a civil engineering, Shoemaker, Delta, Keystone, we would probably go to them and seek quotes and then reach that, minimum of 3 that we strive to have.
What's our threshold? That we would, the current threshold that you would have to seek quotes above of, what is it right now? Like,
It is on professional services, it's 5,000, and we would probably do the
5,000,
same,
so it's
anything
low.
above 5,000,
So if I
which
was-
is low, but it's.
so over
doesn't hurt.
5, you would then put out,
Yeah.
you would
We
get
would seek
quotes.
quotes.
Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
okay. Is there any additional questions?
I don't have conflicted, so I have none.
We can flip them under the table. and ask them. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Well, with that, do we need to take this straight to the?
Oh, we don't have a quorum here.
Because we're only
right?
3, committee 3
All
right
right.
now.
All right, we
guess-
don't have a quorum to consider it, so even if we
Yeah.
voted, okay, yeah, we can just take it.
Recommendation to go to the board.
We'll
but-
take it, we'll just
Note
take it
the
to the board,
discussion.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine, that's fine. Review discussion recommendation regarding an amendment to the open meetings law.
Yeah, so this was one we wanted to bring to your attention as an organization that's subject to open meetings laws. As you know, since the COVID pandemic, we've been working under essentially just an emergency order through New York State, through the governor's office, to do meetings initially straight remote, and now we're doing a hybrid. But on April 9th of this year, Governor Hochul signed Chapter 56 of the laws of 2022 relating to ELFA Part WW in the New York State budget. Included in this bill was an amendment to the Open Meetings Law, or OML, as you may hear it referred to, which would make permanent the expanded use of video conferencing by public bodies to conduct open meetings under extraordinary circumstances, regardless of the declaration of an emergency, until July 1 of 2024. So what that means, and this is why we wanted to have this discussion, is of course, with all due respect to the state, there's always some nuances here. A few key points. Each public body that wishes to allow for remote attendance must adopt a local law, or a resolution, joint resolution, or a resolution authorizing remote attendance. So that's why we bring this to your attention today. They must also establish written procedures on what they determine to be extraordinary circumstances. Any member who participates at a physical location that is open to in-person physical attendance by the public, which we are, and which location has been included in the meeting notice, may count toward a quorum. A member who is participating from a remote location may not be counted toward a quorum of the public body, but can still participate and vote if there is a quorum of members at the physical location. All right, has everybody got that? Okay, so meaning for us, well, as we're not currently at 9 full board members, but we would need a minimum for our quorum purposes of 5 board members to be physically present in the boardroom, in the meeting location, to make a quorum for the remote board members' vote to count. We would need 3 committee members physically in the boardroom to make a quorum for the remote board members' vote to count. So, taking all in, and I'll take any questions or clarification if anybody needs
But it
it.
only, so as I read it, and then you reread it.
Yes.
It only applies if there's extraordinary circumstances.
We would define, yeah, so
The
it's,
board would
the
define.
board would
Presumably,
define,
we
yes.
wouldn't define extraordinary circumstance to be a typical board meeting.
Right,
You would define
the
the
reasons.
circumstance of why you couldn't attend the meeting. Is it if you had
So
car
public-
trouble, if you had a family emergency, like you have to kind of spell it out. as to what
Essentially, right, essentially, I think,
constitutes that.
right, in our situation, being in a state of public health concern, crisis, whichever, however, would there be a reason just to offer a remote attendance as a means of conducting business for the organization?
And this is to when,
July of 2024. And the
2024.
reason why is we do have to formally adopt a resolution. We can't just, because the executive orders, I believe, are done. So we can no longer, it's either we're all in person and or we adopt this resolution that says under these extraordinary circumstances, we will allow for remote.
So
attendance
people can still participate remotely right now up to when?
This month.
This is the end
She's
of,
been doing it
She's
month by month.
extending it monthly.
so right now, we
we'll
don't know if she may extend it
She
again.
could
Right.
possibly. with
Well, the way with
COVID,
it,
yes.
now it's spiking a little bit, she may.
She
probably
may,
will, probably
Yeah,
will.
and they have been extended
Okay,
month
so-
to month to
okay.
month. So it gives us some liberty to manage the process outside of an emergency order that we can say, yes, you can be remote, we can conduct remotely. However, these are the circumstances in which we would do that, and understanding that we still need to have a quorum in person for the person whose virtuals vote to count.
Okay.
So no one's, so with
So,
all that.
Well, my suggestion would be that maybe your team could just identify what you think are extraordinary circumstances and we'll vote on it. I mean, I'm thinking sickness is one. If something like, Cheryl doesn't feel good right now, I think that's a legitimate reason, but she can participate. So if someone is sick or ill,
Yeah, any FMLA matter,
Right.
right, you
Okay.
got family.
yeah. But I mean, maybe you guys could just make a list.
Sure, we could do that.
Vacation.
Would vacation count or no?
I-
Not as extraordinary.
Probably, not. I don't know if it would be extraordinary, yeah.
But sickness, yeah.
So, yeah.
What about if you're, not that we would all go through it now, but let's say, what happens if someone has a work-related issue that pulls them out of town?
I would not consider
Yeah,
that to be
okay.
extraordinary if,
Okay.
the meeting dates are set in advance. I
Okay,
don't
well, you
know.
guys
I
can,
mean,
like-
I guess that would be for you guys to.
Well, you
decide.
guys, yeah, you guys
Yeah.
can maybe come up with a
Yeah.
list and we could,
We will, yep, okay.
yeah, I mean, when first one comes to sick and family, family emergency
Yeah,
sickness.
FMLA, certainly, anything that would be considered
As long as you don't need a doctor's note.
Right. And yes, so, yes, but we did because it does require resolution, and we do know, especially with COVID numbers fluctuating, it might make sense to have a formal resolution of some kind, but we wanted to put it to your attention before we
Okay,
continued.
Was there something in there about transcription versus notes?
We can go back to meeting minutes, but recordings must be transcribed upon request.
well, is that,
So everything's being transcribed currently.
so it's being recorded and you have a firm transcribing it? Is that costly?
This is the first time we're doing it, so
Well,
we
we've
don't
been
have a,
transcribing since, I think, January. We
Yeah.
started doing.
Carrie
it,
was
so-
doing it, but it was very time consuming with.
Oh, you were actually
Yeah, I was
transcribing?
doing all of them until. I think,
Oh, you were
January.
doing it?
Yeah, and it was a
It's
lengthy
Very
process, so,
time-consuming, especially
yeah.
once when we had 8 meetings.
Yeah.
So I suggested we look at hiring a firm. So what they're saying is we can go back to our traditional meeting minutes. However, in advance, we would need to know if a transcription was requested, because we would have to, or,
Right,
yeah,
right, okay.
It's just easier to review minutes than it is. a
it is,
transcript.
correct, absolutely,
Agreed.
Much easier.
much easier.
Well, you taped the meetings, right? Or no?
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted a transcript, I don't know how long do you hold that for, though?
I think 5
5
years.
Oh, you hold the
years?
tapes for
We
5
have
years?
to.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have to.
On our
go
So then
back
if
to-
somebody wanted a transcript, then, yeah,
Yeah.
they
They
could
can go on our
request it.
website. Yeah, everything's on the website. All the
But if somebody-
No, but I mean, if they
Yeah.
want, if we went back to
Yes.
meeting minutes and somebody said, but I want a full transcript of the meeting.
We could
produce
transcribe
that.
based on
Oh,
the
yeah.
recording, yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Mm,
So
Okay.
we will, staff and I will come up with some recommendations for what we would consider extraordinary circumstances. Bring those back, so I don't know if you want to recommend it, I guess we wouldn't take any action this
We won't
month.
take any action now. I would just, we could just
Yep.
say to the full board that
Sure.
this is what we suggested. And
Sure.
that it could come back maybe the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Stacy, just as a way of
Sure.
background, the Committee on Open Government has a draft policy out there that if you have
Okay,
not got
great.
access to, you may want to take a look at.
We will, thank you for that, Cheryl.
You're
I
welcome.
don't think we have yet. All right,
Do we need to go into
I
executive session?
do not have any items.
All right, so at this point, I think that concludes our agenda items. So entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Is there a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.
Ah, my last got stuck.